Today's Wednesday and it's the 11th of January, it's 2023, and I'm all on my own again today. Anita's off to a knitting group, so I've just dropped her off and I've made our way back to, well, I suppose it's our origin. I'm in Portals Nous and this is going to be the beach of Portals Nous. When we first moved to Mallorca back in 1985, we were accommodated initially in some accommodation owned by the school. It was a small one-bedroom flat and we'd got a little baby with us, and it served us well. We stayed there for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months. But soon one of the teachers there, Cass, found us a house to rent here in Portals Nous, and it's just about 50 metres away from this beach. So we were really lucky. We got this little Cala Portals Nous. This is the Portals Nous beach, though I think many people will probably think of the bigger one next to the marina as the Portals Nous beach. But this is the Portals Nous beach, and it's actually changed quite a lot since we lived here. There used to be a small pier. There used to be a lot less sand on the beach, so the sand has been pumped onto the beach. There isn't a lot of sand here now, but the pier's gone, there's more sand, and it's just a great place for swimming, a great place for snorkeling. And just over there was where on the rocks there, used to jump into the sea, at least the children did. And later on, this is where we've brought the scouts, and this is where we used to embark when we go kayaking. So bring the boats down here, there's a little concrete level there, and there's a slipway that's disappeared under the sand that goes into the sea, and we'd go around perhaps to the other beach towards the marina and the island around there. So this is where we started our lives in Mallorca, really. The first Christmas we were here, and I remember coming down to this beach, and just all of this has changed. This is more of a sort of a promenade area now, but there used to be more parking in the square there, and there were 2 cars parked down there, and one of them had got an English registration. Not only was it an English registration, it was actually one from Stoke-on-Trent, and that's where we'd just come from. So we're really curious as to where this car, how it had actually got here on the island. And there were only 2 couples sitting on the beach, and one of those couples was just popping a cork from a bottle of champagne and clearly enjoying life here in Mallorca. And we went over to speak to them, and it was Derek Cooper. Derek Cooper later on became a great friend of mine, and that was the first occasion we actually met him. Him and his wife Sylvia had retired to the island, living on a boat first of all, then in an apartment, and we met them later on through an American friend, and even later still through the Freemasons. But Derek became a great friend. Sadly, he passed away last year, and he'll be sorely missed by me. He'll be greatly missed by all of his friends, and particularly the brethren in Freemasonry. But back to the beach. Here is the hotel that's on the beach, and had a complete refurbishment over the last few years. It was empty for quite a while, but now it's gone up market. It used to be at the bottom there used to be a greasy spoon type cafe which served meals on metal plates, I seem to remember. But it was really, really good, and we used to go there reasonably often. But it closed down, the hotel closed down. This new one was built in its place, or refurbished in its place, and it's definitely gone up market. But as with many places during the winter months, it's closed down. So they've actually put some sort of semi-permanent fencing around the outside, and it says on there, "See you soon." So, well, we'll be back, I'm sure. We've stopped there, having been for a swim on the beach, and then because the beach has a shower, it's really convenient to have a shower here. and then go for a coffee or an orange juice or even some breakfast. There used to be 2 bars on the beach. There used to be one just where the hotel is, a part of the hotel, but then there used to be one just down here, but that one's gone completely. So just come up to the end of this promenade. It's only a little promenade, and you can see the beach there. And now we're looking towards Bendinat, and so all of this area in front is Bendinat. This is a garden in front of a big white house. We used to admire as we walked around, and perhaps if I do manage to walk around the cliffside, we'll be able to see that. And then down here, we've got some little lock-ups for little boats or surfboards, whatever the people want to keep in them. Lots and lots of seaweed on the beach. That obviously in the summer months isn't there. In the summer months all the umbrellas come out, the sunbeds come out, and the beds are kept really nice, the beach is kept really nice and clean. So moving round, what we have just to my left now, we have a bit of a Banksy type picture, which we're seeing more and more of now. This is graffiti that I do actually quite like. So we've got the picture there, and some nice floral pictures here. So seeing some nice graffiti, I suppose that's the wrong word, murals, pictures, that's really quite good. So on this side we've got the steps that go up, and I think when we first came here we looked at these steps and thought maybe we shouldn't be going up there, because it actually led to the main entrance of the hotel. That's no longer true. The main entrance is through those steel panels that we see down below, but the main entrance used to be here. We used to walk into the hotel this way. It seems to be a nice hotel, it's certainly a nice looking hotel, but obviously we don't stay in the hotels because we live here. Now, this path has always been a little bit rickety, and we get to this point here and it says no passar, no pass, don't pass. Enter area with high risk of detachment. Means the place could all fall down. In other words, the council are not doing their job in maintaining the area. But I'll take my life in my hands because it's really quite a pretty walk. Look down at the sea. I was in Palmanova yesterday, and it was very calm. There was no wind, and the sea was very, very clear. It's still clear today, but it's a little bit murky, and there are a few more waves. I think the wind must have caught up out there a little bit. You can see the barrier here is gone, and in other places it's not too safe. So we'll see how far we can get. Hopefully we can get all the way around. And the sun's shining, and it's temperature, well, yesterday when we were in Palmanova it was 18 degrees, and I think that's really quite nice for early January. So this path has always been here, and there's little paths down where you can get a few steps down, and there's some concrete areas people go and sunbathe on the rocks. People obviously do use this. There's even some people out on the paddle boards over there. I don't know what the temperature of the water is, but it's obviously quite a lot higher than it is in the UK, and we saw people swimming in the sea in the UK. So you can see the path is very, very rickety. It's gets affected by the rainwater as well. The wall on this side now is much more stable, solid, I hope. But then we come to places like this where they've been round, and obviously something must be a little bit unsafe there, and there's some tape just giving you a little bit of warning to that. Plenty of trip hazards here as well, because it's very uneven underfoot. Nice that it's in the shade. Some more steps down there so that you can get down to the sea level. If you just look over this way, you can see that huge house over there. Who lives in a house like this? Well, when we lived there, we were sort of overlooking this house. We can actually see it, and we never actually saw anybody living there. It was always empty. So whoever does live there has got a lot of money to pay for a place like that and just leave it there and do nothing. So we're going up. There's some apartments here on the right hand side. They've been there all the time that we've been on the island, so they're not new apartments. And here the path has been pebbled, so it's much more even here, and then runs into a concrete area where they must have run out of pebbles. It seems quite solid here. In some areas it is a little bit dangerous, and I think if you're bringing young children, I would be quite nervous, because in some spots the drops are quite dramatic. We do quite often hear about hikers in Mallorca, not here but in other parts of the island, who slip and fall, and rescuers have to go out to retrieve them. Well, clearly I don't want to be amongst them, so I'll be taking my steps very carefully. And here's one of those places where it would be very easy to slip if it was wet or anyway slippy. More steps going down. Hello. There's another nice place to look out. So there's the amazing house over there. Got a perfectly sunny spot now. The sun's coming round. Time, it's only 11 o'clock in the morning. Just dropped Anita off. And in the distance we've got the islands over there, which is off in Baleares. On another day we'll go back there. We haven't been for a long time. And can see people in the distance doing some fishing. And now I'm directly in the sun. It's feeling very warm with my thick jumper on. I had a thin jumper on yesterday and thought I was a bit cool. I'll put a thicker one on today. Never get it right, can you? So come round here and get to a much steeper part of the path. It's only a short, steep part. And again, it's one that they have concreted in the last 30 years or so. This really could be a beautiful walk if they just actually finished it off and did it properly. And we're now coming towards the end of this part. And just have a look at the signs again. Don't pass, it's dangerous. Well, it's at your own risk, so if you do it, you do it. Now I'm just going to walk out Up here there used to be a little, in the summer, a little bar here. You can actually have drinks, but it's long since gone. But views up here are really quite spectacular, so it's worth coming towards the end just to have a look at them. I've got some people doing their yoga classes or something, I'm not sure. There was a lower path, I'm not sure where the lower path goes to, unless it just comes back to here. But again, here it's loose stones, so you want to be very careful getting towards the edge. And we now look over what people will think of as the Portals Nous beach, which didn't exist when we came to the island. Just as the port in front of us, none of that existed either. That's all been built in the last 37 years, is it? My goodness. The water looks very, very clear again here. And there's the island off the beach, and that's one which we would often swim to, or as I've just mentioned, we would kayak to, or kayak around, so you go all the way around the island with the kayaks. And sometimes we would stop off on the island, the boys would climb up to the top. And in the distance we're looking towards Palmanova and Torrenova, and eventually right over the top we go to Magaluf. Great place for watching the boats sail off into the distance, and probably on the horizon over there we can actually see one of the ferries going off to the mainland. And then on this side back, that's Ilietas over there, and then in the distance we're looking over to the Playa de Palma, and that's Bendinat area. It's an area with big, and it's always been very expensive, exclusive houses in that area. I'm going to make my way down to the beach, or at least I'm going to have a look at the beach a little bit closer. Not sure whether I'll go down or go up to the church. I'll make my decision as we go down, around a bit more. So here are the steps that will take you down, and at the bottom of these steps there's a concrete landing, and there's a bar that's open there in the summer, and it's a bar that people come with the boats and they actually sail up to the quayside and they'll have a drink there. It's had a few issues over the years, but I think it was open last year. And then there's the beach. And when we first came here, and we were living just where I've shown you at the beginning of the video, we would come down here and we actually walked along that beach that didn't actually exist. So you can see the cliff sort of face there. That's now been smoothed off, and it's now got a mesh over it, a metal mesh to protect from falling stones, and there is sand below it. Well, when we first came here, that protective mesh wasn't there. It was very rough sort of stone, and I guess pebbles and stones were falling down from it on occasion, particularly during storms. But there was no sand. There was no sand at all. It was a pebbly beach all the way along, and my memory, and well, maybe it's not very good, but it was only 2 or 3 meters or 4 meter, 5 meters maybe wide of pebbles. And I can remember bringing Lara in a pushchair and dragging her across that pebbly beach. Why we would do that, I really can't remember. I'm guessing that there may have been some sand at the other end. So what they actually did here, when they built the marina, they decided that they needed a beach next to it. So they brought in a ship, and the ship pumped sand evenly across the beach. Well, it didn't stay like that, because the sand ended up moving towards the marina. There must be some local currents that they haven't actually taken into consideration. And go up here, there used to be, where that hut is, there used to be a little, like an ice cream sales place. There's a gate here now, which is open, so I'm coming through. They used to sell ice creams from somewhere around here. That's all disappeared, it's all gone. But from here you can actually walk up. So I'm not going down to the beach. Because if I go down to the beach, I've got to go up. So I'm just going to walk across this is the hillside that I've just been pointing out. And here we can actually see the metal mesh that has been pegged down. So there's some huge pegs here, pegging down this mesh, and it holds all the stones in place. And the hope has always been, and this has been here for over 30 years now, that this would actually allow vegetation to grow underneath it and it would disappear. It's happened to a certain extent, but you can still see the mesh. Sea's looking good, and I did actually see a few moments ago, they've gone now, there were some people actually in the sea. Great day for swimming. So I'm actually walking on the mesh now, so I just need to be careful not to slip. And we're heading up towards the church, which has one of the most amazing views in Mallorca, I suppose, for a church. You can sample it from here. It's a bit uneven again here, and it's quite steep. So excuse me if you're getting a little bit of heavy breathing from me. Church is open. I do think church doors should be open and inviting. And at the top here there's a level area where you can sit and watch the world with the boats go by. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to sit and watch the world go by. And look down onto the beach. And just down there is the platform, concrete platform, which actually has got decking on it, I can see now. But on there they place a little bar and some chairs and tables, and then people either walk to it from the beach or from the stairs, or they'll come from their boats and they'll just tie up alongside and have their cocktails, I'm guessing. And over on the other side, to my right, is the port of Portals, one of the in places to be here in Mallorca. I'm going to have a little sit down, have a little rest, and then we'll carry on. And yes, there are people swimming today. And others just sunbathing on the beach. So we'll just take a last look out at this wonderful view. Yes, there are people still swimming in the sea and some sunbathers down there, but I'm going to be heading up towards the village. And of course, to do that we just walk past the church. door's open, may as well have a quick look inside. It's only a very small church here. And sadly, the only occasions I've ever been to a service, it's been to a funeral. And just to the side of the church, there's a little car park which always used to be open to the public. I'm guessing it might have been abused at some point, and so now they put a gate at the top which is closed unless there's a service on. And for a time it was actually used for car boot sales. People used to bring the cars and set up a little stall there, only a small area. Next to that you can see a terrace here. This used to be a restaurant, really nice restaurant, beautiful terrace, and served really good food. And across the way we've got the buildings of the church, and the door on the left also used to be a restaurant. And Anita and I used to come to that when we first came to the island. We used to go to that restaurant, and it's run by a couple named Steve and Yolanda, and used to buy meat off them, and they would provide some vegetables, and you'd go across the way and there would be a barbecue, and you could barbecue your own food. It seemed a really good fun way to dine in the evening, especially as we lived quite close by, so it was somewhere we could just walk to. So fortunately the gate's open, at least the gate's open for me to walk through. You can see the gate there for the people wanting to drive through is closed. This area's changed a lot. It used to be a sports pitch here, which was red ash, and there used to be some swings that I used to bring the children to in a pushchair, so it's a long time ago. And then they built this little sports centre, so been quite a change to that there. And there is a little playground just down here for children. Of course, children are back at school today, well, back yesterday, and some were back on Monday. School IT chat was back on Monday. So this is the new play area for the children. So I'm just heading back towards the car, but I'm doing a sort of a circular route. So I'm not going over the headland. The headland's down in front of me and to the right. It's very warm in the sun. Beginning to wish I hadn't put the jumper on now. And we just go down this way, and we're going behind King Richard's School, King Richard III School, which used to be, in the past, used to be American School. Changed its name a couple of times. It was the American School of Mallorca, ASM, and it was, after that, American International School, AIS, but then became a British school. So, well, the road that used to be here is no longer a road. That's a certain change. And they seem to have been working on the road down to the beach for a very long time, and they're still working on it. And they've improved the path that runs down to the side, but it's all fenced off, so I can't actually do that. And where I would like to now go, I can't go because it's fenced off. But looks to me as though the road down there is all concreted over. I suppose they're going to put tarmac on the top of that, and that will be ready then to open up. And the path down the side looks to be ready. There's paths on both sides actually. I can't remember there being paths on both sides. The road does look very narrow. Maybe they have narrowed that, so it means I can't actually go down there the way I want to go. So I'm going to have to go behind the school. So this is the school on the left-hand side. Seems very quiet for a school. No children outside playing. And what I need to do now to get back to my car is to walk up to the main road, and then I can go down towards the car. So Anita's at the knitting group today. She started back there. That's on a Wednesday morning, so it gives me an opportunity to go out somewhere on my own. And they used to meet at the ship in the village of Portals. Well, particularly during the pandemic time. But they've now gone back to their clubhouse, as it were. So that's actually in Benzinat. Lifestyle properties in yachts here. They've moved a few times, but seem to have a nice office here on the side. And then I'm glad we've actually had the opportunity to come this way, because it takes us past really a part of our life in Mallorca. So when we first came to Portals Nous, the restaurant in front of us was a sort of a chicken and chips place, but it was soon taken over by Javier and Catherine, and it turned into La Opera. And La Opera became the place for us to come almost every, not quite every, but almost every Friday evening. We would walk down here and we would meet with a whole group of other people that used to come down on a Friday evening for a pizza. And it was really part of our lives for many, many years when we lived in the village of Portals Nous. That was part of our Friday night life. Sadly, Catherine passed away, and Javier is now retired. We did see him a few months ago, and still lives in the area. Just check the road. I'm going to carry on down. And there is on the other side, there's a proper walkway, which is really nice to walk along and get your exercise, get your steps up, and goes all the way from Cascatala all the way through Palma Nova and Magaluf and on towards Santa Ponsa. And it was created with a little bit of controversy by one of the Calvia councils of the time, but I think people in the end really began to appreciate it, and lots of people do walk up and down there. So just coming down towards the road which leads down to the beach. For driving, it's one way up. You can no longer drive down. When we used to live here, we used to be able to drive down. And some steps here which are going to take me down This could be fun. Oh, there's a nice handrail. Things down here though have changed quite a lot over the years. At the top of the road there used to be a bar right next to the bus stop called the Bar Granada, which I never went to a few times. It was actually owned by somebody who, over there, look, who was English. But we're going to go down here towards the beach again. That's where my car's parked. And so when we first came to live on the island, the first house we had was just down this road, so it was really convenient as well for school. I didn't have a car in those days. It was the gas lorry. Delivers gas bottles, butane and propane, and they cost about 20 euros for the big bottles, which my daughter tells me costs more than double that in the UK. But many people still use them for heating, for gas fires, and for cooking. We actually use them for cooking as well, and heating, so it's a very cheap way of heating the house. One of those bottles, 20 euros, will last us, well, the temperatures the way they are will last actually probably about a month, 3 weeks to a month. This site where we can see the benches here, there used to be a hotel here. It's hard to believe that there was a hotel on this site, but there used to be a hotel. I remember going to visit people who were staying there, but it used to be a hotel. I can't for the life of me remember the name of it, but it was demolished many years ago, and it's just been allowed to return to nature. So we used to live just down here closer to the beach. Pretty sure when we first came, the white buildings in front didn't exist. They were relatively new. That was again another piece of ground that was empty. And the garage on the right was owned by Jorge, who was a neighbour of ours when we lived up in the village. His wife still lives there, and sadly Jorge passed away. This is the Avenida America mechanics. This area always in the shade, so it tends to be very damp down this part of the road. Yeah, so these blocks, these apartments on the right hand side, houses, these were not here when we first came to live on the island. There was no pavement here either. It was quite rough and ready going down here, and there were no bins to put your rubbish in. You just hung it by the nearest telegraph pole, and the binman would come and clear it away. We've since had some spectacular looking buildings, and one in front looks really amazing. We left this house here, just not quite there yet, but we left this house because it was up 75 steps behind the apartment block that we're coming to now. I might get a glimpse of it. It's just up there behind that. Can't see it. I'm going to go across the road, see if we can see better. So this block was here, and the house in front of us is where the landlord used to live, and he had a car rental business. But the house we used to live in was at the top, and it's just about to see a little bit of it at the top there. But it was a nice house, and that's how close it was to the beach, really close to the beach. So just a few meters and we're down there. So I've got to go and get Anita now. So it's time for me to say goodbye. Just walk a little bit closer. And it's getting warm. So thanks very much for watching. It's been a really nice walk for me this morning, and recollecting all those old times when we used to live here. So again, thanks for watching, and look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye for now.